Welcome to more Excel functions. I'm going to share the screen here. And for starters, I'm going to go to this Excel spreadsheet, a very simple spreadsheet. And we're looking at some contamination level. I'm leaving it as just some make-believe contamination. Maybe you're testing for some contaminant in your product in a manufacturing facility or whatever. It doesn't matter. And based on your safety results, the line that is drawn in the sand, so to speak, where below you're safe and above you got a problem, is 25 in this example. So I take a bunch of tests and, I should have another column. This might be, site 1, site 2, site 3. Where did these come from? But I don't need to have a legitimate, complete table of information that you might have in a quality assurance department to show you the equation, the function. And we're going to use something called the if function to determine if it passes or fails. And you see pass or fail as the result in the column next to the contamination level. But that pass or fail is not typed in manually. That is automatically done by Excel's if function. So let's look at one of those if functions, and here it is. The if function is very, very simple to construct. And let me just go down to the bottom one here real quick. I type equals if open parenthesis. And so that's always the start of a function. It starts with equals. And then you have some function name. We're going to sum, we're going to average, we're going to do something like if. And if is just going to have some logical test. If the number that I'm looking at is below 25, we pass. If the number is equal to or above 25, it fails. Now, you don't have, in this case, multiple logical tests. You notice how I said if it's below and then if it's above? Well, the way the if works, it only says if it's below 25, in my example, you pass. Otherwise, you fail. Either the number's below or not, period, in this example. So if, in this case, we're talking about A13, that's the number we're checking. You can't see it at the moment, but the logical test is A13 is less than 25. If it's less than 25, comma for the next piece of this function, that's the value if true. What do I want in this cell, B13, if it's true? And in this case, I want to put text. I want to put pass or fail. In another case, I might want to put a number. I could say if it's less than 25, maybe I'm scoring the team, then the team gets 5 points for good job. So I can put a 5 there. And if it's 25 or greater, if it's not less than 25, then I'm going to have a negative 25 put in there. And then I can score the team on its cleaning abilities. But here I'm just going to do pass. If I want to put in a text, I have to put it in quotes. So I'm saying if it's less than 25, put pass inside of this cell, comma, otherwise fail. And always close the parentheses. Wait a minute. It says pass. What's going on there? It's 25. Isn't that a fail? What's really in cell A13? 24.99999999999, whatever. That's less than 25, right? Even though the display has rounded the number up to 25, the number is really below 25, right? And so you've got to be careful when you use these logical tests. What is the actual value? So for example, I might say for my logical test, less than or equal to 25 is a pass. And the only one that's going to matter, look at B12 near the bottom. When I copy this down, that change where less than or equal to 25 is good. I'm going to hit Control D, copy or fill down. Boom. 25 just became a pass because now the equation is not or less than 25. The equation is less than or equal to, and you just put them both. Less than, equal. That's how you do less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to in Excel. You can combine those two because there is no symbol for less than or equal to in Excel. There is one that you probably learned in math at one point where you have a less than or equal to sign and you put a line under it. That means or equal to, but we don't have that in Excel. So you just do less than, equal, and that combines both of them. All right. And I could have said, like I said before, they get 5 points for a good job, and they get -25 if their cleaning failed. Control that down, and now you can see the same thing. I have used the if function to score the team. And now this team, I could even sum this. And the fastest way is the auto sum up in the corner. And auto sum guesses that I want to sum up all those numbers in the column above. And they have a score of 20. And they're going to go, oh man, because they could have had a score of 45, right? That 25 really nails them. You don't want to have a fail on your tests. But again, this is just an example. How does the if function work? I'm going to go Control Z to undo. And go back to this pass and fail. And can you spot the fail? Maybe I would do just P for pass and fail, F-A-I-L, so it stands out better. Or I can do something called conditional formatting. So I'm going to select the results. This is separate from the if function, but I can be on the home ribbon. Over here in the styles tab, there's something called conditional formatting. I click on the down arrow for conditional formatting, and I have highlight rules. There's also top and bottom data bars. You can play around with this. There's wonderful things. But in this case, highlighting cells based on some rule can be very valuable, and it will automatically update. So you don't have to change your color manually, your highlighting manually. So if I look at the lists, I can choose to highlight numbers that are greater than some value, less than some value. So that's based on numbers, right? Greater and less. Between, also numeric, equal to. That can be numeric, but it should be numeric. It depends on the version of software you're using. Equal to may be an exact text string, but in this case, we've got text that contains. And I want to highlight pass and fail, and that sounds like text, right? So if it contains pass, I want it to be green. That means go, good, right? Just like stoplights, traffic lights. And there we go. All of the green ones are pass. And then I can highlight it again and do a second rule for highlighting cell values with text that contain fail. I want them to be red. Okay. And there we have it. Without doing anything, if I have this already pre-made in an Excel spreadsheet, once I've done it, I can use this over and over and over and over again for more tests next week, the week after, and I don't have to do this again. It's already built. And then I can go in and fill in my values. So here's my initial blank sheet. All of them pass when they're blank. And there are different strategies. I'm not going to get into it here. There are different strategies. If it's blank, nothing happens. It can get more complicated. Do I care? Not really. 22, 31. Bingo, look, 31, it's over 25, right? It fails. 2, 45, 45 fails. It automatically is answering the if function logical test, and it's automatically following my conditional formatting rules to make things really pop. Okay? So that is a good example, a good use of the if function. So I'm going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and really up the game here with something called nested if functions.